Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to episode 213 of Live at the Hive Digital Marketing from the Trenches. I am your host, Dan Nadelko.
Yep, and I'm Stacy DeSantis.
And I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
Brandon is the strong, silent type, everybody, so he's going to nod and give us his approval as we go through things. All right, welcome everybody to Live at the Hive, episode 213. If you're watching us live on YouTube, please drop a like and a subscribe. If you're on LinkedIn, just watch. I know LinkedIn is not the place for 1 hour long live streams, but why not? If you're watching on Twitter, love a retweet, and feel free to ask any and all questions as we wait for the teeming masses, the thousands, the millions to join us. Today, we're going to be talking about how to inject humor into your video content strategy, why it's so important, and some of the things that we can talk about in terms of appropriate channels, scripting, using the best format to get your point across and really create that engaging content that speaks to people.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. Start
That's
this
right.
one off with a joke. Why did the cow cross the street?
Why, Dan?
He wanted to go to the movies.
Oh.
Yeah!
Nice.
Knock that one. See, that one's a knock it straight out of the park. There we go. All right, so in today's episode, we are going to be showing quite a few, a little less of the presentation style and a lot more. Yes, I am. I am a dad. I am proud of my jokes. Thank you very much. Oh, I think we've driven away April. That's...
You've utilized your dad powers too
sorry.
much.
Oh, come on, Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Oh, yes. You should have spelt it utterly, but that's okay. I see what you did there. I hope not to lose anybody with my sense of humor. And typically when I tell a joke, it's to increase the cringe factor. That's usually like my primary goal. So how's everybody's week been?
Pretty good.
It feels like I did 5 days
And at
in
Honeypot
one day.
Marketing, we're solely focused on culture and team happiness. We are. Just gets busy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind
All
of like
right.
being up a river without a paddle. But hey, you
Yes.
just keep going like this.
I did just want to do one quick shout out to Dan Duran and the Tech Lounge crew at Rhino Cybersecurity. This is my second live stream today, but had a great time with them today on a podcast talking about social media and security, which doesn't sound that obvious, but it was really a lot of fun. So special shout out to our friends at Rhino Security, and you can subscribe to Dan's channel on YouTube at Get Cyber, where he talks about all things cybersecurity. So that was a lot of fun. Oh, look at
He had
this.
jazz hands.
This is why Sachita, being busy is good. Yes. It is, actually.
Yeah.
Give that lady a raise, Stacy. April.
The cheetah's young though. I'm old. I'm getting more gray. You know?
See, we got to pick compensation based on age. Then. I feel like that's a dangerous path to go down.
I feel like
All right, so as we know, and as we've talked about this a lot, we talk about video marketing and the importance of video marketing and why, the internet is effectively turning into a giant streaming television service, right? But what we haven't talked a ton about are the types of videos that can really create that top level engagement. And obviously, I'm gonna pull up some of this. Yes, it absolutely does. April, it's good to have an old soul.
I think she's older than me when it comes to soul.
I think you might be right. So, as we dive into this, we really want to talk a little bit about, and this is why, and I brought this up 32.4 seconds ago, and Brandon agreed, so that is now a rock solid contract. Brandon is being promoted to producer Brandon. Behind the scenes. He's our man. He's our guy. So what we will be doing today is talking about how to drive engagement through humor, the right kind of breaks. We're also going to be talking about some techniques in YouTube videos, not from our experience, but from some of the biggest and best YouTubers in several niches, including Mr. Beast, including someone like Brian Dean from Backlinko. So that what you'll be able to see here is that there really isn't one formula that fits everything. And I think another important part, just to like really suck the life and the humor out of things, is to analyze and break this stuff down. You know, if you listen to comedians talk about how they actually create their sets and their skits, whether it's Dave Chappelle or it's Richard Pryor or George Carlin, I mean, they spend a phenomenal amount of time coming up with this material and this content. And I'm a firm believer that you can find humor in almost any specific thing. Some of the verticals where people say, well, it's pretty serious stuff like insurance, but you've got the Geico Gecko where they infuse humor into it. We're going to be looking at all of that, and we're not just going to we're going to show a lot of examples, but I think the other thing is really deconstructing certain things and looking at what are these elements and how can I pull these into my video content. And then we're going to look at each of the platforms, which we do on a regular basis, and say, what is important. I actually had this conversation this morning. Is LinkedIn the right place for live streaming? Well, my question is, like, Brandon, how often have you gone on to LinkedIn to find that last greatest business video?
Oh, so many times.
Good cover. But people don't typically live stream in long form format to LinkedIn. Now, should you be broadcasting to a LinkedIn? I would say yes, absolutely. Should you expect that you're going to get the same results on a LinkedIn, say that you may get on a YouTube or a TikTok? You won't. So we're gonna look at some of those elements as well. Sound good? Okay. It goes without saying, and I think Yvonne put not all videos need to be funny. There's a time and a place because that's Yvonne's personality. But one of the things is, like, obviously not all video needs to be funny, but at the top of the funnel, where you want to grab that engagement and gain that interest is absolutely, humor is one of the most important tools that you can use to build it in. And you may be saying, Dan, I'm not a comedian. I'm not even funny. Well, that's okay, because other people are, and you can use inspiration from them, right? All right. Sometimes you have to laugh or you will cry. Yes, that's me on a daily basis, but let's just dive right into it here. All right, so I guess
You
the
can
first
do it,
thing...
Dan.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's dive into it. Stacey, you do a lot of work on social strategy and your content pillars and your personas. So you want to break this down a little bit in terms of how you start with the ideation process?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people just dive in. Sorry, I'm getting a little. Can hear myself.
Dan Duran is in the house. Dan, you just missed your shout out. I gave you a nice long shout out on Get Cyber and Tech Lounge. So thanks for being here.
Hey, Dan. Yeah. So a lot of people just hit record, and that's a mistake. Really, what you need to do is really understand, purpose behind your video, the tone that you want, what topic is going to be. There's a lot of variables, and you need to kind of lay the groundwork before you start hitting record.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that, and then they wonder why they don't get the results they want. And the reason you need to do this is so that you understand like what's the format, which channel are you going to put it on. Really focus or zero in on who you're trying to reach and what is appropriate. Like what's the level of humor that you want. And that goes into tone. And making sure that it really aligns with personas that you develop. So there's a little bit of strategy that you have to put into it. You don't have to be like this massive report, but if you can lay it out, so everyone on the team understands this is what we're trying to achieve. This is a format of video. These are the points that we're trying to reach, and what's the hook at the beginning of the video. These are things we're going to convey, but all in all, kind of lay that roadmap, if you will.
Yes, indeed. And April, thanks. Yes, I know there was an echo. That's my share settings. I should modify that. Let me see here. During some of our video examples, we are actually piping through the desktop audio, which does cause an echo. So my apologies for that. It's a known thing. We'll get it sorted out. I think one of the important things to kind of talk about is deconstructing video. Like this really sucks the humor out of everything. Like, sorry folks, but we will have some really good examples that we'll be showing that highlight some of the best, most engaging. I think one of the things you want to do with your video when you're constructing your video content is work backwards. It's like writing a murder mystery, right? They say you always start at the end and work your way back, but what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to do with this video? And what am I trying to achieve? Because, and I think, you know, in an earlier point was made, and it's an important point, not if every video you have is a comedy fest, right? You're not really achieving an end goal. And where humor really comes into play is at that top level of engagement, in that brand recognition, in the engagement, the shareability. So you have a chance, like, I mean, this is kind of a thing. If you meet somebody and you're interested in them, hey, humor, starting with a joke, make people laugh. When they talk about public speaking, start with a joke, make them laugh. Get everybody comfortable, but have an end goal in mind, like where you want to take this. And in your content strategy, map out what the outcome is first and work your way back. One of the key things, for example, in IT and cybersecurity, we've actually got a bunch of videos that have gone viral in the past, and it always talks about the key thing in humor and in comedy is they're typically pointing out pain and darkness, right? And in the IT space, we do the same thing with but we'll show you the video. I'll be able to pull it up later. But you start with those and you turn it into humor, and that becomes relatable to your audience. And I think that's just a real core, it's just a really core kind of concept that we need to take into account. Okay. I will not share system audio right now at this very point. Dan Duran is saying, amen, brother. Yes. And Dan, you're a great example. Just looking at your socials, you've done a great job across all of those channels to create specific and relatable content, but appropriate for each channel. And again, I think the other thing just to highlight on this is don't just I've seen this so many times where there will be one video that's pushed out to every single channel in exactly the same way. Simply will not work for you. Okay. All right. So we're getting into some of our examples here. Stacey, Rob Nash is all yours. Please take it away.
Yeah. So Rob is part of the Rob Nash Project, which is a Canadian charity where they are really focused in, ending the stigma around mental health and mental health awareness. And they really want to make sure that, if you're a youth and you're suffering, that you understand the resources that are available to you. So it's all in all, it's a kind of a dark topic, right? Mm-hmm. And what Rob has done, and he's actually got an album coming out on February 4th that you can sign up for pre-release. I think we're going to throw the plug. Rob is a fantastic individual. He's definitely a Canadian icon, and he used to be a DJ before he became a musician and got involved with this project. And what started the project was the fact that Rob was in this terrible car accident. He actually medically passed away and then was brought back. And he actually, part of his skull is actually metal. And he survived. And through that experience, he wanted to, he feels that it's his mission to really reach out to youth, troubled youth, and spread this message about empowerment and how you don't have to be, you're not a puppet. Like, you can take something that was really negative and turn it into a positive, and you can, empower yourself to grow. And it's just a really awesome message. I really encourage everybody to check out the Rob Nash Project. Mm-hmm. Anyway, before all this happened, Rob
Short story long.
Yeah, short story long. Rob was actually a radio DJ, and he used to like to play practical jokes. So this video is him describing one of the practical jokes that he used to play when he was a DJ. Now, what's really interesting about this video, especially the way it was shot, which is something I think is kind of a neat trick that we could share with everyone, is that when you first see Rob in the video, it's a long shot, which means that you can see all of Rob and he's really far away. But then as he tells the story, it zooms in and it gradually gets closer and closer to Rob. So while he's telling this like very funny story, it's bringing the audience in, whether they were physically there or you're just watching it as the video itself. You feel this sense of being pulled into this message, which is really awesome. So that's something to think about, like when you are shooting a video, to think about those camera angles, think about how you can, use motion to engage the audience and bring them into the message itself. So, yeah.
And so we'll play this, but I have a couple of points. Brandon's got a background in video game design. Is that correct, Brandon, or am I mangling that?
No, that is definitely something that's used a lot with camera angles. Brings a lot of emotion or feeling to the player in what they're sensing when they're experiencing a scene or an event in game. That can change dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, human beings love stories, so don't be afraid to tell a story. Don't be afraid. Again, the Rob Nash Project is a great example who were initially hesitant to do this. And, using the comedian analogy, really quite effective. And I'm just going to shut up and play this. So we will mute ourselves with on the honor system so that we don't create echo. Wait, did I screw that up? Can anybody hear that? Because I can redo it. Aha. Okay, hold on. I'm going back.
I was like, I can't hear it.
No, I had another harebrained idea. Hold on, that's okay. You know what? We can do it, folks. We can do it. Share system audio. There we go. Try that again.
You guys want to hear about one of my prank calls? Yeah. All right. Okay. You know those mall security guard cops walk through the malls all tough, right? Yep. I used to prank call them on the radio all the time. They never knew it was us. So picture this. You used to the radio come to school, they pick up, they're like, hello? I was like, is this mall security? They're like, yes. I said, oh, we have an emergency. They're like, what is it? I'm like, my brother. He's been trapped in your bathroom for like 3 hours. I said, I need you to check on me. He's like, oh, I'm on my way. You run in the hall. He's like, and he gets to the bathroom in the mall and he goes, where is he? I said, he's sitting in the first stall. I was just hoping somebody was sitting there. And he looks underneath and he's like, yeah, there's someone in there. I said, what color are his shoes? Black and red. I'm like, yeah, that's him. He goes, what should I do? I said, just knock on the door, tell him everything's gonna be okay. So I'm waiting. Sure enough, he's like, everything's gonna be okay in there. He's like, he's not saying anything. What should I do? I said, just tell him Daddy loves him. So I'm waiting. Sure enough, he's like, Daddy loves you. You guys want to hear about one of my prank calls?
Okay, so great example of using humor to create engagement. Now, that particular video did go extremely viral for us on TikTok. It's currently sitting at about 500,000 likes. Not sure how many views. Is it close to 3 million, I believe?
Yep.
Thereabouts. And, the interesting thing about this is that would be considered B-roll content for someone like Rob Nash. And this is another tip that I like to give to people that are creating a video. If you've ever done any kind of video production at all, you'll be familiar. It's like with anything. 90% of the content ends up on the cutting room floor, right? Because it doesn't fit into the larger narrative of that production. Grab that B-roll stuff. Find what you can find. Like we do reels all the time. where we pull that video that we consider not to be necessarily the best in the scope of a script initially, but we'll go back to it as well and reuse that. Okie dokie. Let's go to the next one. Let's see if I can sort myself out here as I'm self-producing.
Just this week, though, and then you got Brando. You're up.
All right. Yeah, that's right. We'll get you all tuned up. You can do it. Next up are from our friends at Vidyard. There's actually a couple here, but let's just dive right into it. Now, keep in mind, Vidyard's an interesting case study in terms of what they've done with video. Their primary audience is B2B video marketing, and they've infused a ton of humor across their entire organization in something where you would typically say B2B sales is this very kind of buttoned up, serious thing, right? With everybody in a suit. And that just simply isn't the case. So let's just have a look here.
Smile without your eyes. Raise your eyebrows. Stop smiling. That's your model face. Smile without your eyes.
All right. So one of the cool things about what Vidyard has done that I really like about this is they've infused the humor. It's a very short video, but it also is showing their product in line with that humor.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I personally love that trend that was going around. That was awesome. And I love the fact that when you do a video like that, or a business does a video like that, whether they're in video production or not, it just removes that, it just makes it more authentic, and it kind of breaks down walls, makes them feel more approachable versus it being like, we're super fabulous, contact us if you need help. But like, you know what I mean? It creates more of a conversation and like a looseness behind their message.
Yes, absolutely. And, it goes without saying, that you can find humor in every single industry. Yes, we will be talking about the famous duo from Duolingo. Obviously, that goes without saying.
We need a Benny.
We do, a terrorist Benny. Actually, Brandon's gonna make the 3D model so we can actually get a custom bee made that's gonna harass the world.
Boy, Brandon, you're gonna have a lot of tasks coming up.
Duolingo's got competition now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. I've got a couple more. I'm kind of I'm going a little rogue here, folks. Okay. So in this particular case, we're going to look at an offshoot of Vidyard, which is called SalesFeed, who is being run. It's being run by one of our good friends, Tyler Lassard from Vidyard, who we will hope to get on the show because I think he's got just a whole wealth of knowledge to share with us. Let's see here. Okay, I'll just pull this one up. Just give me one sec. So SalesFeed's actually a slightly different concept. But the idea here is that what they're doing is this is more of a target to other salespeople. However, it gets out wildly. And this is another thing. Humor entertains, it engages, and people want to share it, right? Especially if it's got some darkness to it. Now let's talk about levels of darkness, right? If we have a look here, I'm just going to play it, and we'll go from there. Oops. Let me. Now, very simple, right? There's not a whole lot happening there. There's not even any audio over it. That was actually a TikTok trend that they jumped on. But it really highlights an actual real fear of anybody in sales or in business, right? You're losing a client or you've lost the account. It makes sense to have fun with it and call that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Just show one more here.
Look, if you're boring, just say that.
So, like, just little micro videos like that, right? That can keep things moving. All right, I got to try to find my tab because, I lose tabs. That's what I do.
Folks, if you only saw how many tabs he has open. I don't know.
I
Brandon,
like to
you're
play-
guilty of that, though, too.
Yeah.
I like to play with fire. All right, next up, we have got Dollar Shave Club.
This is a great one.
Yeah. So this is actually, now I'm going to be echoing because I've got a dual kind of thing happening here where we want to talk about it. But just to break down Dollar Shave Club and a little bit of history, the company itself was started by two comedians. Actually, the guy that stars in it is one of the co-founders, okay, this particular video. And this video is from quite a few years ago. I think it's like 2010 or 2012. It's a while back. This one's not a new video. The background to this was Dollar Shave Club is playing in a really, really highly competitive industry with massive multinational corporations owned by like Procter and Gamble and Gillette and all those, right? They had no way to compete, right? They didn't have the budget. They didn't have anything. And this is something we commonly see across the board in marketing and business. And their solution was in a very dry, whether it's a Gillette commercial that you see with somebody, shaving and, triple blade technology and all this stuff. And they took the approach that humor was going to be the thing that breaks through. And so we can give it a watch.
Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
So many random things going on in that video.
I love that.
Yes.
But you know what I was going to say too is that what's interesting about this is kind of like the OG, if you will, of these kinds of videos, because so many other brands started doing similar kinds of stuff. Like you've got Old Spice, what they were doing. You've also got HelloFresh. Lately, I've noticed that they've come up with a whole new campaign, very similar to that. It's like a mom who doesn't want to cook, and it's just like she's going through her day like, I don't care about this. So I don't know, I really love it because it's a really good example of how it's a very simplistic idea, but it's impactful, it's funny, it's off humor, some of it's a little bit like woo, a little edgy, but it's done in a tasteful way, like in a good way.
I saw a commercial just a couple days ago. Even Buckley's is riding that train now with their commercials. Getting a lot more less PC with it.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that regardless of the size of the brand, whether you're a young brand, you're a growing brand, or a very well-established brand, is if you look at the landscape of the marketing and the communications, is what social media has done is democratized communication, right? So just as an example, if I was in the 90s and I wanted to set up a radio station, there was literally a thing called pirate radio where people would go and set up pirate radio stations. But now anybody can set up a television station as a YouTube channel or a TikTok, right? And what that's done is it's forcing brands that may not even want to do it internally, but they're seeing success with it. Is that no matter what your brand is, you've got to look at it from the lens of how can I become more relatable, not more polished and not more, you got to have all that stuff at some point in your spectrum. But when it comes right down to it, you've got to figure out the best way to be relatable and open with, your audience. Okay. I'm going to jump back here. There's a great example. Again, a double shout out to our friends at SalesFeed. One of the biggest tensions in business is actually the tension that exists between sales and marketing. And it's something that we deal with all the time. We try to break down those walls and understand that everybody is on this continuous team. And this is a little shout out to those guys too and their content.
Hun?
Yeah?
Hun?
Yeah?
How'd you like those new email templates? I tried a new recipe this time.
Yeah, they were super.
And how about that new ebook? I slaved over it all week.
Time well spent, dear.
What about those webinar leads? Have you had a chance to follow up yet? We don't want them to get cold.
Yep.
Great, how were they? Any sales yet?
Well, the webinar was yesterday, so no sales yet.
Oh, those sponsorships aren't cheap, We had to move our offsite to the Radisson to afford it. Think you can close one soon?
Mm-hmm, I'll try.
What's wrong?
Nothing is wrong.
Any sales yet?
Look, believe it or not, I'm busy. Want to know why? Because I'm always busy. Because I have a real job.
Did Dan freeze?
I thought I froze. Oh, okay. Nope. Dan's reliable Rogers internet froze yet again. There he is.
And back. How long?
What's the story here, folks?
How long was I gone for?
Not that
10
long.
seconds.
Okay.
We were both kind of sitting here going, did we freeze?
Yes, this is true. I actually got to talk to somebody because Rogers is just off the hook in terms of their reliability. So I won't finish that particular one. I'll just jump on to some of the other ones here. Let me see. Where did that link go, Stacy, that you sent me before?
Oh, I put it in the
there
private
it is.
chat there. Yeah.
There we go. Pull this one out. Okay. Just give me 1 second, folks. Thanks for being patient. Okay. So you can see here that this one, for our friends at the Bridesmaids app, if you are getting married, definitely look at Groomsmen and the Bridesmaids app. They're a great way for you to organize your people in a great, secure way, keep it all organized, and keep your head together. This particular video.
Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. It's a beautiful night.
Okay.
Aww.
Yeah, see, so that gives you all the feels, right, at the same time as everything else. So there's a bit of humor in there, just being surprised, but you can see that when we use this strategy, the engagement rates are so much higher, right? So on either end of the spectrum, you can polarize people on one end with negative sentiment, you can polarize them with positive sentiment and with humor.
Yeah, and the two that we've shown you that have gone viral, the Robs and also the Bridesmaids one we just shared, we should mention there was absolutely no boost budget. This was all organic, which just proves how powerful comedy or micro moments like what we just saw with Bridesmaids, how powerful they are.
Yeah, for sure. And look, the thing is that you can actually combine. I've got a good strategy for you. If you want to do a small boost to get into the organic feed, here's the strategy. You take a video that is hyper targeted, okay? Hyper targeted to one specific audience. And on Facebook, you create that hyper targeted audience with the intention that you want them to share it. We have made videos go viral because when you hyper target to a specific audience with a very specific humorous message, and if that audience is known to be a high group of sharers, right? Like these people are fully in on social. What happens is if you get that small organic boost that engages with people, they share it. That's the number one. They engage with it and comment. And then the reactions are the least powerful. The share is number one. If you are able to incite that, that small boost will kick in and the organic algorithm comes in right behind it and that thing takes off like a hockey stick. Okay? So some people consider boosting on social media buying likes. Well, the last time I went to a radio station or television station and said, hey guys, come on, just put me, you know, just put it on, come on. They say no. And it's for obvious reasons. These are businesses. But using a small organic boosting budget to get yourself into the organic algorithm is an extremely valid method of creating virality, right? Of helping kickstart it. I liken it to surfing, right? When you hit the wave, it takes a lot of effort up until the time you hit that wave. Once you hit that wave, I don't know if you've ever gone surfing, but this is very true. You just you continuously just roll through it.
Totally.
I feel
like Brandon, own a surfboard.
I feel like Brandon is frozen.
There are sharks out there. I'm not doing it.
Brandon, yeah. I think your video is frozen, my friend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I thought, hey, he's just sitting very, very still. He's like Drax.
A lot of practice.
Yeah. He's like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. Let's keep trucking here. Where are we? And we're almost near the end here. So I do want to point out a couple of other things. Oops. Sorry, things are just auto-playing on me here. I'm going to try to close up a couple of tabs. Oops. There is one more that I do want to show. The other thing, too, I think that's important to talk about here in the grand scheme of things is, and I know this for a fact because Dan Durand and I were just talking about this, we have a channel, Honeypot Marketing, on YouTube, for example, and that in and of itself as a brand on social media will not perform as well as something that is more relatable, right? Quite typically, like that's the case. Don't be afraid to create content that's only purpose is brand awareness and engagement. Okay, so here's another one. And just simply uses corporate humor. Sorry. TikTok's video controls are just like play. That's like their... Okay, so let's do this.
I'm changing my email sign off to Moistly. What are your thoughts?
Please don't.
Dave tried calling me at 8:30 this morning. No warning at all.
What did he want?
I don't know. I blocked him. I thought it was weird. Do you think we look alike? I'm gonna quit.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, I need the money. How do you professionally say that makes absolutely no sense?
There seems to be a disconnect.
Ah, good one. Thinking about changing my email sign off to Moistly. What are your thoughts? About changing my email sign.
Okay. Again, it doesn't have to have a purpose. It just needs to engage and make people laugh. And again, when you attach audiences to this, you will have an opportunity to retarget these individuals, right, over and over again. So that's another important thing. Okay, I'm just going to look at Duolingo real quick. And we will find a couple of their best videos. There, great. Okay. Just get that.
Brandon, you're not frozen anymore.
Yeah, give us a wave. Or did you freeze up again? That's okay. Listen, the people on the audio podcast won't even know. All right.
It's not funny, I've got school.
Let me just go back on that one.
Nah, it's not funny, I've got school. Nah, I'm not laughing, I've got school. Nah, it's not funny, I've got school.
Now, one of the great things about Duolingo is they've managed to, I mean, on TikTok, they're definitely way more out there than they are anywhere else. And the important thing with Duolingo to understand is they have a purpose on TikTok that is completely different everywhere else that Duolingo operates. And the use of the character as this kind of psychotic, out of control, unhinged mascot has, I mean, I don't think you could calculate the brand lift that they get from this, because they have been featured in every mainstream media and business magazine and marketing magazine. And it literally, this style came from the brain of their social media manager, who also has a really great TikTok account that you should check out. Okay. All right. So let's just dive into a little bit in terms of a few tips to talk about. How do you break this stuff down, right? So number one, work backwards from a goal, backwards to the content and the style of your video, right? Keep in mind the purpose for it. Okay. Tip number two, give a hook within 3 seconds. Really quickly, you got to get to the point. Okay. Tip number three, keep the pacing going. So, are you guys familiar with rave and house, like rave music?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things, it's a technique in music, and actually it's not rave, but rave really uses it. I believe a lot of musicians use this, is if you start with a drum beat that paces at the rate of the human heartbeat, okay? And you see this in drum circles and with bongos and with drums, it's a technique. And as human beings, if we match the heart rate, and then that drummer, for example, increases the rate, right? So you start out like bop, bop, bop. And then
Flip the beat.
And then you increase it.
Come on, Brandon.
Human beings' heart rates will increase with that as well. And you see that in songs like Sandstorm, which is a classic. And you want to do the same thing with the pacing of your video. Dan's got great advice here. Absolutely, experimentation. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is a big learning experience, and don't just do one, you've got to do several, right? If I could tell you the number of times that we had 0 viewers, right? Yeah. And we don't reach huge numbers, but again, we have an engaged audience. We have people that go back and look at the on-demands of these videos. And that's the important part, right? So we're trying to find what's important to us. But don't be afraid to experiment and to fail and then continue to go. Yeah. The last part that I would suggest is do your research. We got a bunch of links that we're now going to have to throw into chat or into the comments, and I will show you a couple. Brian Dean's got a great video on how to start and grow a YouTube channel in 2021. Now, Brian Dean is in the unexciting world of search engine optimization, where you typically see a screen and a screencast with a person in a little box in the bottom. And he went and researched other big brands and great YouTube creators, and he's got a lot of good tips in this. The next one is Justin Brown from Primal Video, another great channel to follow, talking about how you can make good YouTube videos, simple video scripting structures that you can use. Lastly, one of my favorite YouTubers, and I think this is important for marketers, for businesses, for videographers, people that may be professionals in the movie and film industry, is look at YouTubers, okay? The reason being is that quite typically, so Mr. Beast, who's got, well, arguably, he has the fastest growing channel in YouTube history, hundreds, over 100 million viewers across his channels, is they have figured out the format, they have figured out the algorithm, they have figured this stuff out, and they continually invest in it. Brandon, you look like really creepy right now. That's okay. But Paddy Galloway on YouTube, for example, deconstructs everything that they've done, and he finds the patterns and then explains the patterns to you. And what will work on YouTube will work in a different way on TikTok. So, whew. I think we've done it, folks. We're at the end of a very busy day, but hopefully in this episode of Live at the Hive, what we've done is, one, made the case that humor is important for your video. Point two, that you have to have a structure to your videos, even if they're funny. Because they're funny doesn't mean they aren't well thought out. Hopefully we've given you some structural ideas and some resources and shown you some great examples across the board from some of the most boring industries that you would think should be buttoned up and you don't really need to be. So that's it. Episode 213 for Live at the Hive video marketing from the trenches. Okay, I have been today, I have to say, I have been literally nonstop since 8:30 this morning. Like, my calendar looks like a rainbow, a solid. Yeah. But hey, it's good. I'd rather better that than the obvious. But I think I need to go. Well, I can't touch grass right now, so I'll touch snow.
Just run into the snowbank and.
I am actually surprisingly not tired. I'm kind of hungry, and I've probably had way too much coffee. But other than that, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. So anyways, everybody, hopefully you have a great weekend. Hopefully we gave you some good tips on your video marketing, your video content, and how to use humor. We will see you next week for episode 214 of Live at the Hive Digital Marketing from the Trenches. And look forward to some more great guests. Once again, thanks to our friend Dan Duran at Tech Lounge and Get Cyber for joining us last week and for the opportunity to collaborate today. Looking forward to future stuff like that. And have a great weekend, everybody. Disconnect. See, I can't stop talking. I just have too much caffeine in my system. I would just keep going. Like, if you want to hang out, like, we just hang out and I'll just, we can talk.
You'll just keep talking.
No, we will ride off into the sunset now.
I think you need to play some house music.
And have a great week. I can't. Herb Alpert is the king. And I think it's the Tijuana Trio, I think is the name of the band. So welcome everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And we will see you next week for another thrilling episode of Live at the Hive Digital Marketing from